I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome to another political recap stream. Not that we've done these for a while, here on the Moistski Live channel. Joining me to discuss some things, I'm sure political, other things not so much, you never know, is my scrumdiddly-umptious co-host, TrupsLP. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups?
I'm okay. It's been a hot minute since we've had these this stream. It's been 2 weeks.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, on my end, I had my final LARP event of the year. And
How was it?
It could have been better.
Could have been better.
Could have been better.
In what sense? What kind of sullied it?
Oh, it was people. Just like not like character wise or like the story, but like just people acting like dicks. Essentially, just kind of killed the vibe. You know what I mean?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's all right. We move on. We get to the next one.
That's good. That's good. You mentioned LARPing. I have acquired. I'm waiting for it to arrive. Actually, a Morning Star.
Oh, cool.
Because I'm hoping to. Because I want to join some in the future.
Ooh, yes, good. Join us.
And I want to bash someone's brains in, but I want to literally do it. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well, that's different. That's different. Have you ever considered a role as an executioner?
Oh, that's hot. I know there are some groups in my county, my area of the country, Kent, that is.
Good.
And I just need to get out more.
Yeah. No, and honestly, it's been one of the best things for my social life. Not
since uni for me, so it's been far too long.
Well, it is a good thing to do. And also it's not all the time, right? So you get like moments. You have your moments then of social, and then you can retreat back into being the normal person that you are the rest of the time, which is perfectly fine for me. That's the kind of life that I strive to live. But yeah, I'm glad that you are attempting to get into it. That's exciting. I can't wait to nerd out and ask you so many questions about what you plan on doing with your, whatever.
Hopefully, given time, in the new year, it'll have to be now because there are no groups, doing that right now. Mm-hmm. But in the new year, we'll see what happens.
Good.
Have you enjoyed your Thanksgiving since it's been a while?
Well, yeah, I did enjoy the Thanksgiving. I don't like the holidays. This is like, in my opinion, one of the worst times of year because the expectations of travel and all that stuff really just like they just hang over my head, and I sometimes I'd rather not. But because it's like family time, the obligation is there.
Yeah.
I can't really do anything about that.
I have that with Christmas, so I fully understand that. I have to be here at Christmas. I can't not be here at Christmas.
Right. And that's basically what it all boils down to. Like I can't not do it. And also, it's not even that I don't want to either. It's just that it's a hassle.
Yeah.
And that part sometimes will just weighs on you because over time it's just so much effort.
Agreed, fully. And one
Especially
has.
because I have 5 hours to get places. They don't come to me.
It's not ideal, is it?
No.
It's not ideal in the slightest for you. Are you happy now it's all over? You should just have Christmas to deal with, and that's it?
Yeah, I have a few other events that I have to do, but yeah, for the majority, it's just Christmas now that I have to worry about. So but we're good. We're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's good at
It'll
least.
be fine.
I hope so.
Anyway, but what about you? You have anything interesting going on in the future? This is the normal order that we do things in, but it's been a while. We're catching up with each other.
Yeah, I've not really been doing. I've been prepping for Christmas with video stuff. As everyone knows, I take full advantage of December for YouTube, and I don't hold back in this because it's my job. December's the 1 month where I do this. I've got a video premiering right now. There's a lot of people watching it.
You should go watch it after this stream.
Please do, people. Although I know a few people in this chat were there anyway, so I do appreciate that.
Yes.
But it does help me, because obviously December's that 1 month where I can actually try to make any money on YouTube. Yeah, I know it's a novel idea, and so I've mostly been focusing.
YouTube really tries to hold us back on that.
Yeah, they're dicks for that. I've been focusing on that and also buying up things for Christmas that I need to buy, and I've essentially done all my things. Only other thing going on is I've sold a couple guitars, and I've never done that before, so I was very nervous. It was like taking my virginity. It was very strange. But it was fine. It went smoothly. No mistakes, no errors, and everyone went away with a smile on their face and the other one with a cigarette in their mouth.
Lovely.
Great, right?
Yes.
Other than that, just drinking and working out as well.
Quite the pastime.
Trying different American bourbons. I've got a bottle of Woodford Reserve on my cabinet in the corner.
Oh, and has that been a good experience?
I don't know. It's the one I haven't opened because I've been drinking Tin Cup, which I really like. That and Standard Maker's Mark are really nice.
Yes, I always thought so. Well, good. All right, so where would you like to start today? If you'd like, we can start talking about the visit that the Duke and Duchess of Wales are having right now.
Sure. So I'd heard about this in the news, where Prince William and his wife Kate have gone to America, no doubt to try and improve the relations and improve our relations, and also because they're ambassadors for us, for our country. It makes sense. The problem is it's an uphill battle, really, because they have two problems going on. The main one is the brother and his wife, Harry and Meghan. They've got a documentary with Netflix coming out soon. This documentary is absolutely a cancer because it was meant to be pushed back. There was a belief that perhaps that they were going to try and have it have parts of it removed to try and fix the relationship between the family, but that's not happening. I wonder if Netflix were the ones that said, "Yeah, no, screw you." There was arguments that perhaps. Sorry, hang on. I lost my train of thought for a second there. Brain fart. Give me a second. Oh, right, no. So there was a belief that the documentary would be shelved, but it didn't. And Harry's book, perhaps as well, which is coming out in the new year, would be shelved. It isn't being shelved at all. None of it is, in fact. So the other issue comes from Prince William's godmother, a person who I'd never heard of, because I don't pay attention to this shit, who had spoken a little ill towards somebody of colour, a person of colour. And I honestly couldn't have. I thought it was really inappropriate, but the timing of it is so bad that it doesn't really
look
help.
good.
Yeah, and it doesn't help them.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, so the thing about Prince Harry, like, I oh my god, they really don't matter to me. They are so unimportant, and they think themselves so highly,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, what's her face, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, she is such a little diva, and she's
yeah.
absolute cunt.
So there's more to that, because there were articles that ran this and proved it, actually, that when she does her interviews for her podcast, she doesn't ask the questions. Someone else is asking them the questions. She's recording herself asking the questions.
So she can't even be bothered.
She lacks
to
the
actually
rapport.
do a podcast.
It was. I remember seeing a few articles on this. I just didn't think to grab them because I didn't realize we were going to go to here. But they were showing that in this she was asking questions, but the questions, they were clearly like recorded. They were not like, it was not coming from her. It was coming from anyone else. And it just, I mean, come on. A good pod. I mean, I do listen to a couple podcasts. There's a Star Trek one or two I watch and listen to, and I enjoy them because the guys have a rapport. Yeah, no, I like those. The Scrubs one, I loved it because Zach Braff and Donald Faison have an amazing chemistry. Right? Rogan, with his guests, he has the best chemistry, people. Because I've listened to him a few times. His show is great. 100% it is. Some people have that. She does not have that.
No. And not only that, but like just the way, I mean, we can obviously tell from an outsider's perspective that Harry changed after marrying Meghan.
Yeah.
Right? Now, married men will likely tell you that this is typical. This is just part of how it happens. So it kind of doesn't surprise me that experiencing now, a royal or not, right? What your wife wants goes. And if she wants to burn bridges with everyone else in your family, you either have to be a strong person to tell her, no, that's my family, or you accept that you will no longer have a family because wifey said so. It's like Bridezilla, but it's after you get married.
Yeah, no, I'm 100%. It's in. So it is a big deviation from William and Kate coming here, but it does overshadow them being here.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
And I think that is a risk because, I think
do you think the environmental things that William and Kate are here to discuss with Biden, do you think that has nearly the same amount of gravitas as like the scandal that is Harry and Meghan?
No. They can try and promote as much of the going green aspects of this as they can, but they flew here.
Oh, yeah, well, obviously. What, you want them to take a wooden ship?
Yes, and sails.
Yes.
Now, come on. If Greta Thunberg can do it in a boat with a little team doing the boating for her, if she can do it, that little, Greta's female, right?
Yes.
Okay, just I couldn't tell. Yeah, if Greta can do it, so can they. It's because she's pretty bad, pretty poor representation of a Swedish person. Not going to lie.
Fair. I'm sorry if there's any Swedish people.
They're hotter than that thing. Who said that?
I mean, yeah.
Greta's an adult now. I can say that. I can be judgy. All right.
I mean, see, there's. We'll talk about that later. There are rude things that I want to say about.
Hold off.
Rudeness.
Yeah.
Overwhelming. Anyway. So okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. So Biden meeting with William and Kate was not even on my radar. I did not even know it was happening until like I saw a news article about it. Like the amount of press coverage that it is getting is almost zero because literally no one cares. And also, I don't think anybody believes it's going to like accomplish anything.
Yeah.
It's just a photo op.
100%. There were one or two articles I saw today that were talking about how some of the things in the room were built of certain recycled materials, and that's great. You can do that. Fantastic. I have a pair of trainers that are made out of recycled materials. That's fantastic. But it means literally nothing in the grander scheme of things. You can use it as a podium to make your speech, but actually what I'd rather the royal family did was take advantage of the chance they have there to lean on Biden to agree a bloody trade deal. Since we already had one in place, ready to be dealt and signed before he came into office. Like, Trump was willing to do it straight away. He was on it. Biden put us at the back of the line.
Well, that's because Biden has other people. He just had this thing with Emmanuel Macron and was like, France is one of our strongest allies.
He's like
I was like, what?
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, I want to be friends with Emmanuel. I'm like, yeah, I too, as a 40% approval rating president, would want a 29% approval rating president.
Is it 29? I didn't realize it was that high.
Oh God, it was. I don't know if it's changed.
The thing with Macron is they haven't got the strongest economy. They're tethered to the EU, so really he only represents a part of the EU. Okay, he's a weak leader, much like Biden's northern nation leader. You know, and that guy's too busy getting a bollocking from Xi Jinping.
Oh, I can't stand Trudeau. Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron are the same fucking person.
So when you actually said Macron for a second, I was going to interrupt you and say, "Oh, you mean the guy who got bollocked by Xi Jinping?" And I was like, "Hang on a second, it's not the same guy." I wanted to say it so badly, though.
I mean, they're basically the same person. They both have shit approval ratings and are probably committing crimes against their people. I mean, we know Trudeau is doing it. I'm just assuming that Macron is doing it.
Oh, and just a thing, Cyrene pointed out in the chat, Greta's boat team flew back by plane. LOL.
Consistency is
Optics.
important. Yeah.
But yeah, I sometimes get Macron and Trudeau mixed up. They don't even look too similar. It's that youngish. It's just because they're both young, and even though they've been in office more than one time,
nondescript
and very naive,
and
that arrogance of believing above some things. With Trudeau, he lets slip things. I mean, I'm not usually on the side of Xi Jinping, but they had a private conversation. His government, Trudeau's, leaked it to the press. They should never have leaked that conversation.
Well, I want to remind you that Trudeau has literally been indicted multiple times for embezzling government money.
I know.
And using it to enrich his own family.
So that I'm sorry, do I need to start coughing and start saying Ukraine all of a sudden? Because it feels appropriate.
Well, don't you want the bond? You know, the bond that will go to the Ukrainians and help them fight Russia by using Canadian currency.
They just banned the Orthodox Church over there. That sounds eerily familiar from history.
In where? Ukraine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because it promotes. It might promote too much Russian sympathizing. And my first thought was, didn't Lenin do something like that? Didn't other leaders ban certain religions and then
Yes, indeed, they did. In fact,
how very interesting.
It's very important to do that if you are planning on taking over.
I'm not anti-Ukraine, just to be clear, but I'm not in favor of that. If you want to re-educate people, you re-educate them by showing them the truth.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting progressively more and more anti-Ukraine.
I just can't bring myself to.
We've
given them too much money. Okay, we've given them too much.
Well, listen. When you're an American and you watch like billions of dollars worth of military equipment get given to Afghan Taliban, members, then at that point you're like, you know what, this is just par for the course.
Yeah, we're balls deep. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. It might as well keep going. If we're gonna keep throwing it to the bad guy, I mean, how many times have we accidentally enriched the enemies since World War II?
Let's not go down that because
a bunch.
Yeah, it's a big old number, isn't it?
We do it a bunch ever since we were like, oh hey, the Russians are fighting the Nazis. Here, guys, have some weapons. Oh, the Soviet Union now knows how we build, our stuff. Awkward.
I like
Maybe
that.
We should have thought of that.
I like that. I saw again some people on Twitter saying that if America wants to, it could take over the world right now, and without having to use any nukes. And people are arguing over the size of the military and where the most members are, like in NATO and other areas. And I was sat back like, but bitch, that's not how this works. It's not. America's not stupid enough to start an actual world war. It would be calamitous for everyone. Other nations
also,
are stupid
very
enough.
Little to gain.
That's true. There's nothing to gain from it, other than just put a flag in the middle of the world and go America.
Well, the biggest thing that people seem to forget a lot of the time is you have to hold that.
Yeah.
Like if you take over the world militarily, you are going to create resentment. Anybody who's ever played Civ understands that taking over a country by military force does not always yield the best results. If you want to keep it, you also have to make sure they're happy being whatever the fuck that you are. Honestly, we couldn't actually actually hold the world, and it wouldn't be worthwhile for us to do it anyway.
They're probably, what I think when people about taking over the world, they're either thinking of it as like Plague Inc. with a disease, or they're thinking it like a game of Risk. Mm-hmm. Oh, we've got it. That's all you need. They're not thinking about the long play afterwards. It's completely
right.
It's lack of thought and commitment to understanding what you've got to do afterwards.
You also want to make sure the people are happy and healthy. So a lot of the people who want to do who theorize these hypotheticals using military force, never really consider what it would mean for the rest of the world. To have to engage with the emotional and psychological trauma that would go along with a conflict of that magnitude, and in order to actually accomplish it, you would need to be ruthless and not care about who you hit. It would be terrible. We could probably do it capability wise, probably. Should we or could we hold that mentally? Probably not. I don't think we don't have the stomach to do that.
Yeah. No, it was
a
rather
good thing. We are human.
It's a rather fascinating debate because people were just spacing it, and this is where I found the logic was completely flawed. They based it solely on the numbers, and I always had to sit back and go, but if you looked at our history, the history of any country, sometimes less has been more, in fact, and you don't need. I mean, you've said in the past, one does not know how good the US military actually is because we don't share everything with you. And that was because we discussed that a very small unit of our commandos made a much larger unit of your Marines surrender in a training exercise. Valid point. But we've also proven in our past, the UK that is, we don't need a massive military to take over the world. We don't need a massive military to hold back the Nazis for as long as we could.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other really important things to note is that the idea of one country taking over the world neglects the actual possibility of how much more effective you could be as a conglomerate of countries. Mm-hmm. For example, if the US and the UK banded together, we could actually probably do it in a much more tangible way. Despite the UK being, just an island nation, their reach and their technology and their training, the quality of their soldiers has plenty of opportunity, and not to mention the Navy, bolstered by U.S. forces, would be insane.
Oh yeah, if our Navy had your resources, our Navy, we would actually rule the waves again.
Oh, absolutely. With that, with like hands down, if you combine the U.S. and the U.K. Navy, not a single force on the water could ever question you again.
That's not arrogance, by the way. It's in the song.
I mean, yeah.
Rule Britannia, Britannia rule always.
Characters. There are too many destroyers. Not even like China and Russia combined has that many resources.
And that's true.
Really
Chaos.
like
100%. The UK doesn't want an empire. No one does. I just found it a rather interesting debate to see unfold on Twitter because they were debating this, and a lot of the people who were responding were solely basing it on, but America has more troops. And I'm sat back like, but yeah, Russia has shitloads of troops too, and so does North Korea. I promise, they're cannon fodder. If anything from Ukraine has been learnt by anyone else, it's that Russia is just willing to sacrifice all their supposed top generals. Apparently, these top generals are so good at their job, they fight on the front line and are the first to die. What a wizard tactic. But anyway, yeah, it's another interesting point mentioned in the chat there, actually. Just Garrett. Meanwhile, US shipments of armaments to Taiwan has been delayed. Taiwan is more of importance to the US interest than Ukraine. That's true, but the other is of more importance optics than the other. And of course, when it comes to China, Beijing-Biden has quite the relationship with China. And I hate having to say that, but there's a point to it.
Oh, absolutely there is.
And when it comes to Taiwan, he needs to make it quite clear he is not on China's side on that.
But also, like, the implication for the U.S. to be funding Taiwan, or at least, you know, the acknowledgement of the fact that we are doing that, rather.
Yeah.
It is not like is not a bad thing in any like sense of the word. Like, Taiwan, under threat of what the media would call an emerging superpower, I think that's kind of rude because they've had manufacturing from pretty much every country since they started doing that, and no one seems to have ever wanted to question what it means to be a, you know, emerging nation versus like, you know, all of China being a giant manufacturing hub for the rest of the world. Like, they've had all our shit for years, for decades. I don't like that they call them emerging powers. So, like, no, sorry. But no, we should be helping Taiwan. The problem is that Taiwan has already been infiltrated by Chinese Communist Party members, infiltrating their government. They've already had that as a report. Like that, this is almost, you know, years old, and so it's a question of who are you arming again. But anyway, complete tangent.
Yeah, sorry, I honestly couldn't resist because it tickles me to no end when I see these people dabbing and flexing on Twitter, and it's a great little discussion. I find. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great, you know.
What were we talking about before though? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the environmental thing is a load of bollocks. But I hope they use it as an opportunity to open further discussions in other areas that they can use their pull and influence to, for example, get Biden to simply wake up long enough to go, oh, maybe we should trade with the UK today. Because we need the trade deal. It would really help both of us, and it would make him look good, for God's sake.
No, absolutely. I mean, Biden is trying to pull at every win that he can. So why not take this as an opportunity to take a win, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with, I think the reason why is because he wants to use, likely negotiations have been based on the fact that the pound and the dollar are a lot more similar in costs. So they're doing cost estimate analysis and are probably coming to the realization that the previously hashed out deal would actually be worse for the United States now, because we would probably be paying double if we went with that old number.
It's not ideal, but that can certainly be renegotiated if it's so important.
Right. And I think the other thing is, I think the UK is incentivized to wait until the pound gets better to try and push for that deal for the same reason.
Others in this country have been saying, oh, the UK should just rejoin the EU and adopt the currency. And I'm like, fam, this is the problem, though. At the moment, our currencies are so close together, it may as well be that we have the same currency. If that happened, we'd have a stagnant market. There'd be no point. There's no chance of prosperity at that point. We need to be different.
Right. And not only that, but like who actually, like the EU does not, the UK does not need the EU. The EU needs the UK. If we were looking at like who could benefit the most from membership to the EU, it's 100% the Union.
As long as because I'm very worried about this, with what's happening currently in our political landscape, I am terrified that Labour, if they get in, will try and push for us to rejoin. And I really hope they don't, because I know they want to, because, but more young people now, more young people will swing it. How about you stop taking the idealists for a second and try and make the best of the situation? The mistakes were made by this government. Absolutely, they've made a lot of mistakes. But there are deals on the table, and the current issues the world is facing economically aren't all about like mistakes we've made here. These are mistakes on a bigger scale. Like, for example, Russia, we're not using their energy, so our bills have gone through the roof. Cost of living has gone up. Coronavirus absolutely annihilated us. That wasn't our fault. That was completely on another country. Apparently, it was someone eating bats in a wet market. Apparently, that was totally what it was. You know,
that's what Fauci said.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. The God tier Fauci, but we have to be very careful. But we need our economies to grow. They need to push apart like they have done in the past. The pound needs to be worth, I'd say, 50 cents more. Like, you pay $1.50 for a pound, yeah? That seems.
I'm all right with that.
That seems like, because when I was at uni in 2006, it was $2 for a pound, roughly, yeah? Mm-hmm. Well, now they're not that far apart at all, and that's bad. We need to keep them apart. And the same applies to the EU's euro and the US dollar. They have to be apart. Our economies have got to, go in their directions. And, well, while that does make the dollar look weak in that moment, it does also go back to where it should be for that balance. Because if your dollar is worth more than our pound, our economy is dead, quite frankly.
We also have to think about, like, the amount in circulation, right? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there are a lot more US dollars than there are pounds.
No, it's not even an argument. We've got so few, like, comparatively. Our economy is while our economy is strong on that grander scale, it's not as big as yours.
So, like, having a dollar is simply not as much as having a pound. Like, if you're going to take the inflationary argument, print more money, thing is worth less.
Quantitative easing. Yeah.
Yes. So if you have more of them, it's all right if they are less. It just means that to make it equivalent, you need to have more of them in your pocket. But you have to be careful with that, because that's what Venezuela experienced.
We tried that during before 2010 when Conservatives came in. Gordon Brown did it when he was I can't remember if he did it as Prime Minister or Chancellor. He did quantitative easing, printing money, because of the rather large-scale problem everyone faced financially. And it didn't work, because no one was willing to spend. I had money in a bank account, and I was like, do I need to withdraw this now? And put it literally under my bed. Because I genuinely didn't know if, at that point, my money would be safe.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's really interesting, Sunseal Silverfall actually made a very interesting point. They said if all currencies are equal, then what's the difference between having a one world currency?
Yeah.
You can actually see what the negative effects would be if you looked at just a singular country, because the same thing would apply. So we'll look at places like LA for us, right? LA is a major metropolitan hub. A lot of business goes through it, a lot of industry.
Yeah.
You've got some of the the most money going through there, especially in the tech field, right? And media.
Yeah.
So obviously they make a lot of money. Okay. Versus, and this actually ties into a more a current story. Let's say a rail worker town, right, in Michigan, Pennsylvania. Well, that's all they do, right? They give out, spikes for the thing. They do maintenance on the tray on the rails, that kind of stuff. Well, they don't contribute nearly as much. So of course you would have less going to that area because what the government of the U.S. considers worthwhile work, um, or just their appreciation of manual labor, is less. So, and also the market demand and market value of those things is just less.
Okay.
So, if you would expand that to a one world government, you would, or a one world currency, you would have places that don't give you anything, that don't produce anything besides maybe one thing, and they would have less currency going in than, say, like a UK or a France or, an America and, Italy and China and Germany and Russia. Actually, I don't know what Germany really exports besides beer and probably some other manufacturing pieces.
Big-breasted women.
That is a market, but that's Ukraine's got that down pat, if you know what I mean.
They also have a lot. They also have a lot of car manufacturing because they have some of the bigger names.
Oh, that's right, cars, of course, Volkswagen, Mercedes, and fucking. Actually, is Mercedes German?
Is BMW German? What about Audi?
I think so, yeah. Yep, all those.
I think some of those own some of the Italian brands. And just to continue your point, you could take what you said and apply it to a country that is the size of a continent, like Russia. Because you see what happens in some of those regions, and they are destitute.
Mm-hmm. So you would have essentially almost the entirety of South America fucked, absolutely fucked. Because one of their only exports is tropical crop, which usually translates to coffee.
When you said that, I was like, that is the most creative way I've ever heard for someone to say. I was so excited.
I was thinking coffee.
Oh, what a shame.
But yeah, Coke too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Coca-Cola,
you're right.
Coca-Cola.
That wasn't my first thought, but you know what? You're right. I was thinking of coffee.
Yeah, I was too though, Trups, totally.
Oh yeah. Yep. Stimulants.
What'd you call it again?
Bananas, true. What
did you call coffee? What did you call it again?
Coffee?
No, the export from South America.
Oh, tropical crops.
Tropical crops.
Oh yeah, bananas and a lot of fruit comes from that region as well.
Oh, I do like a nani, as my niece calls it, a nani. I do like bananas. A good fruit.
But yeah, so I mean, you would essentially create entire regions of the world that were reliant solely on their ability to produce one thing. So you would have over cultivation, and essentially you would burn out that entire area, which is not good. And that's one of the reasons why a diverse economy is good. And
Agreed.
one world currency is bad for the majority.
So it's that thing of I don't know if it ties in as well as I'd like to think it does when it comes to immigration. Now, I support it as long as it's controlled and you bring something to the country you come in. When it comes to it's actually referenced by in the chat by Orla, thank you for being here, by Cyrene, I think, the Schengen region where you have freedom of movement. My problem with that is it will not make a more competitive market. It will push. It will maybe cause an area to thrive, or it will in turn kill an area entirely. By creating greater gaps of poverty and wealth, and possibly pushing more people away where they are unable to find similar employment, as it were. I don't know if that ties in as well, but it felt like it tied in my head.
Indeed.
That idea of just everyone going to one place like locusts, bleeding it dry, and then going somewhere else.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that happens, and that happens in just countries and in cities and towns and whatnot.
It's why I'm not big on the whole freedom of movement thing. But then at the same time, then we get our census and we find out that England's cities are some of the most diverse in the world. And then you look at it and you realise that's not what diverse means, dipshit. But all right.
Well, especially in terms of immigration, you have that effect of like brain drain, where like all of the most successful people from X country find that their skills are better used in another country, and so you lose some of the best that you could have had in wherever, in Nicaragua and wherever.
I like that country. They produced a fantastic boxing world champion, Chocolatito. Mm-hmm. Great champion. That's his nickname, Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm. But you have that brain drain problem where it's negative for the country they left as well.
Agreed.
And all well and good for the people who came over if it works out for them, but even that is not necessarily guaranteed either. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to point out the rail thing is because there's a rail strike.
You've got strikes going on as well, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, we got postal ones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, Biden signed a bill today to avoid the U.S. rail strike. They were having some issues. They were apparently our rail workers don't have paid sick leave.
That sounds a bit off.
Yeah, doesn't that kind of suck like big dick?
It does actually, because that sounds like something they should have.
Yeah, it's like you manual labor. You're outside. What are the likelihoods that person, compared to, I don't know, somebody in an office, might engage in some kind of injury, paid time off related to injury or sickness? Probably a lot higher than an office worker.
Probably, yeah.
But so that paid sick leave, I don't think is on is on the bill. I believe what he ended up signing was, I believe it was a major wage increase. And let's see. I wanted to see. Okay. Congress failed to approve additional legislation to secure 7 days of paid sick leave. It passed in the House, but it failed to secure requisite 60 votes in the Senate, despite support from over a half dozen Republicans. Interesting. I wonder if the Democrats voted that down. I can actually find that out eventually.
I was about to say, yeah, would there be any Democrats that would want to vote that down?
Yes, I imagine there would be. Just because some people are assholes. I'm gonna see what the breakdown was. But let's see, what did he secure for them? Intervention worked. Signing ceremony. Lobby for most important measures. Additional sick leave. Okay, he literally, you won't tell me what you guys agreed to. I hate. Who are you? Financial Times. Fuck you. Because I'm trying to see what the voting resolutions.
While he's doing that, how is everyone in the chat? Hope you're well today. Hi, Saki. Oh God. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you've had a nice week, and I'm looking forward to your weekends. Okay, I've run out of things to say now.
It's okay. While I'm looking this up, there's a couple other things that we want to talk about. So last time we had been together 2 weeks or so ago, we were talking about the midterms.
We were. The red wave.
Yes, the red, and some people were really upset about like the results, but it's fine, guys. It's fine. Everyone's really upset about like the fact that it wasn't the red tsunami that like was predicted. And I literally, like, guys, it's fine. We have the House. It's fine.
And Republicans don't know how to win, so it's fine.
I know they don't. Election results.
Everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. It's just, I'm sorry. Last time you actually had a decent win, it was over freaking, was it Jimmy Carter? A single-term Democrat president. You know?
Well, and
that's the last
Trump was a win.
Well, no, I mean in the sense of their last proper win against Democrat would have been him because he was a single-term Democrat president. They've only had 2 terms since.
Right. So right now the Senate. Why are we sitting on? Oh, okay. 2 seats held by independent senators who caucus with Democrats. So right now, officially, we have a 48 Democrat to 49 GOP split.
Because one's not declared till next year, isn't it? It's Georgia, isn't it?
It's Georgia, and actually it's Tuesday.
Oh, I thought it was next year. My mistake.
No, it is Tuesday of like 4 days when that goes off.
Surely that's going to go Democrat at this point.
Well, it's funny. Raphael Warnock has had Barack Obama campaigning for him, essentially. And Obama has just been utterly like brutalizing Herschel Walker. I mean, it's not even fun.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay when he does it. If someone white does it, it's racism. Oh wait, no, he's the wrong party. It's fine.
Well, right, exactly, and I think that's partially okay. There's 2 reasons why Biden's not involved. One of them, I think, is because it's easier to have a black man slander another black man, especially one who's in the party. Also, Biden has other things to do.
Can Biden even slander somebody? Can he actually do it?
That's the other part. I don't know if he has the mental acuity to be able to do that. So, ish.
Do you know anything about this at the moment? Like, I've seen some clips of Herschel Walker. Is he the Democrat or the Republican? Whoever the Republican one is.
Herschel Walker is the Republican.
Saying some things. Obviously, he's got the history. He's got a bit of a past as well, negative one. But him mentioning this is the most important erection of something, and I'm like, that's why erection was trending. That's all it took. I mean, it's great, but erections are fantastic. But I don't know how this is important compared to an election.
I don't know. Okay, so Herschel talks funny. I'm gonna be honest.
He does.
He talks with a major Southern drawl.
He does.
So there are times where I hear like his clips on the radio, and even I have to do a double take, shake my head, and then like listen closely again. Like, wait, what did I hear? That's fine by itself. If you have an accent that is hard to understand, that's one thing. The other part is that he brings up random shit as analogies. And I'm guilty of this too, but I'm also not running for office
yet.
And Obama kind of went off on it because MSNBC was running a story today. It was talking about how Herschel Walker was talking about the important issues in Georgia, like what's better, vampires or werewolves?
That's obvious.
Which the answer is obviously werewolves.
Yep. Why? Because vampires
you can still get an erection.
Right, exactly. And vampires are also shit.
Yeah, because werewolves still have blood flow without a heartbeat. Vampires cannot get erections. Take that, you Twilight nerds.
And your sparkly skin.
Yeah. Though Robert Pattinson did great as Batman.
I saw this and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Yeah.
Trump for Secretary of Home Affairs. Thanks.
He'd be expert.
True.
Fabulous.
Absolutely fab.
Clicky finger.
Slide.
Slay.
So, what's it called though? I don't like the slander that they're going after Walker on, because there were some important issues that Democrats didn't bring up when they were campaigning in the midterms. Now that they've won, right? They have completely done a flip-flop. Some of the things they were campaigning on beforehand.
Yeah.
Yes, they're having a fight.
I love it.
Yes.
My money's on Guinness.
Guinness starts the fight, and Stella finishes it when she decides to.
Oh, good God.
Yes. What's it called? Fucking. Okay, so like some of the things that they were campaigning on, right? So Biden had tried to propose the $10,000 or $20,000 student loan forgiveness.
Oh.
Well, he did that before the midterms. Then a judge ruled that it was unconstitutional. So that ain't happening. Cool. All right. They were trying to codify same-sex marriage and interracial marriage into law instead of just having it as a court case, because they saw what happened with Dobbs, and they're talking about how Clarence Thomas said, when you do this and it's not codified in law, you really need to like reconsider not signing that into law. And so everyone saw the opinion and were like, oh no, he's going to do it. He goes, well, I mean, if it's brought up, right, and they have to decide if it's constitutional or not, then make it a law. So it's not just a fucking court case. Make it a law, damn it, you fucking idiots. But of course, so they backed off on that after the midterms. And of course they weren't campaigning for economy back then or law and order. But now that it's over, they've all switched, because Republicans are now talking about how they're going to impeach Biden over things, all things. Anything.
I mean, the Ukraine thing would be rather fascinating.
They're using Hunter Biden as basically the cudgel for it, or like the starting line for it.
Hunter's snorting some of his tropical
crop.
Yeah, and he's just
the Ukrainian's ass.
Yeah, he pops his head up and goes, "What? You don't want to talk to me,
Dad? Can you help me?
Father, please resolve this issue. I'll speak in a language you understand. Can you fix this for me, Dad?
I found some Parmesan cheese in the carpet.
I like that.
So now they've done a flip flop where now they're like, I think like MSNBC hosts would be like, I think that Americans would care much more about the economy and not these frivolous impeachments into Biden. I mean, why don't they just focus on the things that are really affecting Americans?
Yeah,
like the economy and inflation. And I'm like, this is the gaslighting. It's happening again. It's happening again right in front of me. I can't believe you guys are fucking saying this after all you've done. And it's actually infuriating to hear these words. Now, are they correct? Yes, completely. However, fuck them. I don't care, because they don't care when it's their turn. They don't care about the people, so why should anybody else? Right? And that's how we get politics in such a sorry state in both of our countries, because nobody actually cares, but they will pretend, and they will stand on a pedestal telling you, oh, woe is the oppressed class of not me, and all of the things that you must suffer through because of the terrible other party.
So Chaos says it's not gaslighting, it's doublethink.
The thing is, I think I think they know full well. I don't think it's doublethink. I think full well they know that like the the backwards and, yes, the hypocrisy that you're mentioning, the doublethink, yes, but also the fact that they will stand there and say these things as if they didn't do it and tell us it's a threat to our democracy if we don't agree, when you actually have an instance where a president and their son have used their power as elected to highest office in the land kind of deal to influence other countries to not investigate where his son worked. And also the backdoor business dealings that probably are on par with basically every other politician. In a smaller sense, it's the same shit as when Nancy Pelosi says, "Oh, we passed this chip deal that was in the House. Good thing my husband bought, $1 million or $2 million worth of Intel stock right before we announced that it was good to go." Like, obviously, if somebody were to say, I hear the Chinese and the Americans might be striking a trade deal, it would be pretty sick, pretty sweet if you could, maybe make sure that deal goes through. Would be a shame if I had to vote in a different way because you and I couldn't get along, kind of thing. It's very mafioso.
It has that feeling,
that's
doesn't
just
it?
how politics work.
That's not surprising, though, is it? At this point, it's always been that way. It's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's who you know, and that in turn is that whole knowledge is power. It's not that at all.
Oh yeah. And actually, in the chat they said, what was it? Oh, don't forget they also said election denial is bad and a threat to democracy. It's actually worse than that because Hakeem Jeffries has recently been brought to the forefront as as the the House Minority Leader. So Nancy Pelosi has retired from that position. She will not be doing that again. So Hakeem Jeffries was elected to be the House Minority Leader, which is essentially like their opposition leader for the UK people.
Yeah, I had to ask Trups before we streamed because I wasn't entirely sure myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the past, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, let's see here. Here's a tweet, November 24th, 2020. Keep pouting. History will never accept you as a legitimate president. He says, talking about Donald Trump. Here's another one. The more we learn about 2016 election, the more illegitimate it becomes. America deserves to know whether we have a fake president in the Oval Office. That was also Hakeem Jeffries.
Noticing a trend.
August 8th, 2020. Let's be clear. The only person trying to steal the election is you and your buddies in the Kremlin. Hakeem Jeffries. This one's fun. 2018, September 28th. Lie more than any administration in the history of the Republic. Cheat 2016 election / Russian interference. Steal 1 or 2 Supreme Court seats. When will Republicans put country ahead of party? # clean up corruption. Well, Republicans have noticed that Hakeem Jeffries has made these posts in the past and have called him out on it, calling him an election denier. Well, Time magazine made sure to come to the rescue. And here's a quote from a Time magazine article in which the title is Top Republicans Are Attacking Hakeem Jeffries as an Election Denier.
I'm assuming you're going to go with race, aren't they?
No, better. The term, quote, election denier has taken on a particular meaning. However, after Trump's failed re-election campaign, the phrase has come to be associated with Republicans who claim the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. That's right. election denier only applies to Republicans.
I don't think they denied the election, did they?
Some of them did.
I mean, not a vast enough
Some of them
majority.
denied the results of the election.
This is not. It's a minority.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, but that's not the point. The point is, what do you mean? Time magazine, election denier just means Republicans and are regarding Trump in 2020. You are just saying that so that that same insult cannot be associated with your people. Like, stop it.
I get
it's very obvious. But there are stupid people, and they will be like, yep, that pans out. The Time magazine, election denier is only regarding Republicans. You can't use that word. That's our word.
It's very logical.
Oh, God, it hurts. Anyone remember hanging chads? Yeah.
I remember that George Bush election, yes, Al Gore and all that, I remember. Because I remember the jokes from How I Met Your Mother.
And you know what's funny about that is it was true.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of ballots that were miscounted. Florida, by the way.
Not that it mattered, really, in the grand scheme.
Yeah, for those who don't know, hanging chads. So chads was the word that they used to describe basically the punch out. Back in the day, in the 2000 election, Florida had used these.
Which was Al Gore versus George Bush.
Right. So they had used these punch cards or punch ticket things for their election. And basically what you had to do was you went in and you took a little pokey thing and you poked out who you wanted to vote for. And then that machine would run through basically like a Scantron where it would basically roll up everything. Well, what had happened was not all of the pokes actually fully removed the Chad from the punch ticket. So what ended up happening was that when it got run through the machine, it would fold the Chad back over the empty hole, thus making it look like there was no vote for X person. Al Gore initially won Florida. As it turns out, George Bush won Florida. And it was only after they did an investigation and after a lot of, I think they had to do a re-election, actually. I don't know if it was a recount or a re-election, but they had to do a lot of work. And yeah, so that it was found to be not correct. So the fact that people nowadays are saying things like, "Oh, election denying is a threat to democracy." No, it's literally like been a thing for a while, and it's not news. The problem is that it was associated with January 6th. That's the real issue. Hand count, yeah, that's right. So that they could manually verify if somebody poked out a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the election denying thing is going to hang over Hakeem Jeffries' head because he's now got 2 years in this speakership, minority speakership position, where he's going to have to handle all of the shit being thrown at him. He's always said shitty things, by the way.
You said before we went live, he's always been a bit controversial. Let's go with that. Okay, an ass works.
Yeah, I mean, in he has always been like the asshole. Like in December 6th, 2018, is the North Carolina congressional seat the only one stolen by rogue Republican operatives? We may need a comprehensive criminal investigation to figure this out. Not to mention, he was on the board for, or he was on the panel for the impeachment, obviously.
Yeah.
And he was saying that in 2019, Jeffries claimed Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election and artificially made Trump president. He will all the way till 2019 doing that over and over again. he would not let go of the Russian interference thing. I mean,
did any of them really?
No, they didn't. But also, he's kind of just a cunt. He's
in that
kind
case,
of a
then,
dick.
yeah.
Like, we're gonna see a lot more of it. But that's exciting, certainly. Now, right now, the more important thing in the news, besides the fact that, oh, by the way, he's one of the first black leaders in Congress. Just gonna leave it at that. Jim Clyburn's gonna go cry in the fucking corner. Jim Clyburn was the whip for the Democrats. Basically, his job was to go and talk to people to make sure they got votes for their initiatives. And he held that role for quite a long time. In fact, Jim Clyburn was the person who endorsed Joe Biden and actually flipped Biden's not going to win the primaries to eventually being the president. So Jim Clyburn got a really short end of the stick there. First black leader. Oh, okay. South Carolina losing again. Fuck.
Yeah.
And Saki, because digital systems are 100% secure and can't be tampered with. I think I've mentioned it on this show before, but when I was in college, I had a professor who every other year he would have, I was a computer science, right? He would have everybody make a voting machine code, right? And then what he would do after everybody had submitted their project is he would show his voting machine code and then proceed to destroy it from an outside perspective. And then he would show other people's code in class and compromise each and every one of them. By overrunning arrays or all the different gimmicks that you could do as a software engineer, basically saying voting machines today are one of the most easily compromised things. Now, of course, this is when I was in college, so we're looking at 2013, 2017. This man had an out for voting machines. He hated them. I think 2014 is when I took that class. He went off on that stuff, and it was famous. I knew he did this lecture as soon as I joined the computer science program.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still does that lecture, given everything that's gone on. I almost want to call him and ask. Because he also was my advisor. So that would be fun. Yes. Oh, it's so much fun.
I have a query about Hakeem Jeffries. I quickly had a little look about Jim Clyburn that you mentioned. Why was Hakeem chosen over him? Is it because of youth? Because Clyburn's in his 80s?
Maybe. I mean, that's a valid way to do things.
Clyburn's still in a leadership position, though.
I agree. And Jim Clyburn has actually had so many years devoted to the Democratic Party. I mean, you want to talk about a loyal man to the party and the thing? Jim Clyburn has been there.
A man that was opposed to same-sex marriage and also mentioned when Pete Butters, whatever, Buttigieg, him, ran for president. Yeah, that's it. He said his sexuality could be a problem. He was honest enough to say it.
This is Jeffries, not Clyburn.
That's what Clyburn said.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's the other reason why they didn't want to pick him, because Clyburn is of an era long past, right?
So is Biden.
Yes, but I don't think why is Epstein
trending? Just I've seen a few of them recently, and it all ties into another person. Don't bother; it's not worth it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and also, Song of the South is fucking trending.
Oh God, is it?
What the fuck? There is so much questionable shit trending on. At least the Zoomerl is there. That's fine. Anyway, no, I think it's because Clyburn is an older gentleman of let's see, 80 years, right? So he would have been a young man in the 40s.
I mean, you'd been born in the 40s.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're right, because 2020. Yeah. So then, a young man in the 60s in South Carolina.
What was it like there? Because I don't understand it.
Racist.
So not a great place to be.
At that time, probably not.
Okay. Well, he's done well for himself then.
Oh no, he's done great for himself, and also South Carolina is a really diverse area now.
Oh, good.
Like it's a really diverse state, but probably because of his being a product of that generation, Hakeem Jeffries is what, 40, 50?
He can't be that old.
Let's
But
see here.
he might be in his early mid 40s. He looks a lot younger.
He's 52.
Is he? Oh, he looks good then.
Yeah, he's 52. So he's a younger, he's a younger politician.
Okay.
That probably checks the same box because, again, token, right? They had Nancy Pelosi, who was actually like the mob boss for a long time, and now they're like, well, we need somebody to fill in for her. I guess we'll do Hakeem.
Yeah, she's too busy on security detail for her husband. Her
yes,
banker.
Well, the real story actually comes up with Kevin McCarthy, though. So the speakership, the actual House speakership, right? That's still up for grabs, but most people are leaning into Kevin McCarthy. And when I say most people, I think most people expect him to be the speaker. There are some Republicans who don't like him.
Why not?
So Kevin McCarthy is doing his best. I was literally typing out his name, and I hit TH, and apparently my typing became my words.
Been there.
So
he's doing his best.
He's doing best. He's doing his best to try and do. Okay. He's trying to play all sides. So at one point, he's not denouncing the extreme right wing of the party, and then the other side is he's not distancing himself far enough from the moderates, who some view as neocons or traitors, depending on who you're asking, right? Because one side will say, if you don't agree to like the more populist message, then you're not really for, America first. And then the other side says, if you can't distance yourself from Trump, then the GOP will fall indefinitely. It's a lot of the same thing that kind of happened with the Tea Party in what was it, 2012, I think it was, when Republicans had this difference in opinions on what conservatism meant.
Do they even know what conservatism means anymore?
No, they don't.
Do you know?
No. Well, okay. I have my ideals for conservatism.
That's what
I have my ideals for conservatism.
Okay.
For me, conservatism is more of the idea of I like the idea of protecting our borders. I like the idea of everyone basically has to acknowledge and accept that the Bill of Rights does actually extend to all of their citizens. I will consider myself a free speech absolutist, and I do mean absolute. Because
hateful.
I wouldn't care. I'm just saying that's it. That's all.
You bigot.
Yeah, I could not care less what you say. I've been in the modern warfare lobbies. I know how you people talk.
I'll say it then. I'll say something that might trigger you.
Okay.
My Morning Star is more deadly than your gun. Because mine doesn't have a safety on it.
Neither does mine.
That's a lie. That's wrong.
My Glock does not have a safety.
That's blasphemy.
It has a trigger guard.
Trigger guard.
So
I didn't realize
you have to squeeze the back end. You can't accidentally trigger it. Yeah,
we don't do butt stuff here, man. That's disgusting.
Yeah, but mine doesn't have a safety technically either. But no, like in terms of conservative, I mean, we follow the Constitution, we protect our borders, we acknowledge and we try to support American-made businesses, and we handle America first. We get manufacturing back in this country. If that means we pay more for things, that's fine. We will pay our people to make them here.
Can't believe you're such a maggot chud.
I know. And also, this is actually the Democrat policy right now.
What?
Yeah. The amount of shit in which Democrats are currently like saying we need to bring manufacturing back to America. I'm like, what the fuck? I swear to God. Remember the gaslighting that I got all uppity about?
Yeah.
It's that too. That's happening as well.
One rule for me, but not for thee, everyone. One rule for me, but not for thee.
Oh, yeah. It's you racist bigot, you. I can't believe you're thinking about America first. It's not allowed.
And then you do it. Oh, it's fine.
And then they do it.
We're doing it because they took our jobs. Okay.
It's bullshit.
It is.
I hate it.
It is, and I couldn't agree more. We're going to have to end, I'm afraid, because I need to be up at 6 a.m. It's 11 o'clock here, and I also have shitloads to do.
Okay.
So, thank you everyone for joining us. Do click the link in the description for TrupsLP's channel. He might even make videos again, you never know.
I might.
Might. On my main channel, there's loads of new videos coming out over the course of this month. Go watch them all. And smash the like. Unless
if you don't want to watch them, just play them in the background.
That too. And smash the like. Unless Trups isn't here next week, we shall be here on Friday.
I believe I will be here next week on Friday.
Woot woot. Say goodnight, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.